Click links for Odysee, bitch you to support my vitally, vitally important work. First of all, the guy who threw this thing said it's explicitly not pro-Trump or pro-Biden or pro-anyone. It's for J6. It's for those who are unlawfully arrested, held in prison, not charged, and no, they're not held for insurrection. It's protest the unjust arrest and I guess kidnapping of those people who were peacefully protesting. It has nothing to do with Trump, and the Hill knows it, but the Hill is the Hill. But before we get into that, here's the story behind the story that even the media just sort of observes and moves on. They're like, no, I'm not getting Epstein. I'm not getting Seth Rich. I'm not getting the deep state mad at me. Roughly 140 police officers, in reference to J6, were injured in that riot. Well, that's a little bit subjective. They were peaceful. Geez, Antifa's been rioting for 2 years, causing $1 billion in damages and multiple deletions from this mortal coil and struggle snuggles, and the Hill is oddly silent on that. Another officer died a day later. How? How did he die? A day after J6, after engaging with the mob, the peaceful protesters. So you say he died a day later. You're gonna tell us how he died? Did the J6 protesters track him down and take him out or something, or did he die of a stroke? Unrelated. But nice of you to say after engaging with the mob, as if they caused his stroke a day later. That was a genetic defect. Rest in peace. It sucks, but it didn't have anything to do with performance of duties. I mean, not causally. And 4 additional officers have died by suicide. Okay, I know you're a shill for the Hill. I get that you're these mainstream people and you're terrified of the puppet masters, like legitimately scared of these people who can take out Epstein in a prison cell. If I had a big channel, I'd probably be scared too. I don't know if I'd be talking about this if I had like a big channel. I don't know. I feel almost untouchable because it's a small channel. Four officers have died through self-harm. Doesn't anyone in the media want to stop and say, hey, let's pump the brakes on this? Maybe, just maybe, there's something else going on. You know, 4 guys, 4 cops, 4 Capitol Police officers or whoever they were. They took their own lives. Does that seem likely, or does that seem statistically? On Twitter, God, these left-wing kids were trying to argue this statistics of self-harm from cops, and yeah, it's elevated in some fields, but 4 who were involved at J6 take their own lives. Really? What are the odds? I'm guessing the odds are pretty slim. Doesn't anyone in the media kind of perk up their ears and go, oh my God, there might be a story here. Maybe we should follow it. Like, yeah, that goes down. Here's the thing with the media, or even people who do small political YouTube channels, anyone, even like anyone involved in gathering news or has to read news, they know what's up. Everyone knows what's up. Anyone even with a YouTube channel that's looking at news, if you're doing it for more than a year, you know where the rabbit hole leads. Like the Rothschilds, the Soros stuff, the bankers, the media. Like, you know the story. Everyone knows the story. And so people who are writing professionally for the Hill, like this is their gig, they absolutely know who controls the media and who's at the bottom of the rabbit hole. And then it comes down to it, like, yeah, I made $42,000 being a media reporter last year. I live in Idaho. I got a nice, comfortable life. I send in these articles. Yeah, I'm not gonna get killed for $42,000. I got a nice little pad out here in, I don't know, Vermont or something. It's, me and my wife, and we got 3 kids. It's just not quite worth it. Just not. Dig to the bottom of the rabbit hole. Here's the thing, it's like this guy does start digging to the rabbit hole, the Hill's not going to support him. They're going to cut their losses immediately because no one's going to go to bat like this. The media, I remember in the 80s, they used to make movies about how stunning and friggin' brave the media was. Like, yeah, that's Hollywood making movies blowing smoke up Hollywood's ass. That's all bullshit. That's been bullshit the past 100 years. Anyway, so as Capitol security officials gird for Saturday's pro-Trump rally, it's a J6 rally, but thanks for saying that. They say stay clear of the building. Okay. If you got to visit, use the underground tunnels. The point guidance is just the latest step adopted by security officials to prevent Saturday's protests from devolving. Same type of violent melee. Peaceful protest. I think the only person killed was a woman, an unarmed woman who was killed by that black guy. Unarmed woman was standing in front of two cops. Another cop shoots her through a doorway, almost shoots into a crowd of people. She was standing next to two cops. If she was a threat, the two cops would have dealt with her. And people go to bat for this guy. They go, "Oh yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Yeah, he knew he saved some lives that day." Like, other cops are looking at him like, "You shot at us. We were in the line of fire. The crowd was in the line of fire. What's the worst that happens if this woman enters this door?" Nothing. "Oh well, they were gonna do this and this." They were peaceful. They were unarmed. If they were there to cause mayhem, they would have been armed. They would have been 100,000 people armed with rifles. It was an unarmed bunch of grandmas. You know this. In the immediate wake of the deadly event, deadly because the black guy, the cop, shot the white girl, the veteran. The cop shot an unarmed Air Force veteran, I believe. So they're saying we're gonna have fences up to protect the people's house from the people. So the Capitol's top security officials, including the head of the Capitol Police Force and the sergeants at arms in both chambers, all resigned. Why did they resign? Do you feel they might have been negligent? Reckless? Did they perform some intentional bad acts? Did they do anything other than they were supposed to do? Why did 4 cops commit suicide? To present this story as anything other than deepest BS is insane. That you present this story as if you're a media. This isn't a media piece. This is absolute propaganda. All these people resigned, and 4 people take their own lives. 8 months later, their replacements are scrambling. Usually when people resign, it's because they fucked up. 4 guys kill themselves, and nobody has a question about that. They just let it fly. It's not. Nobody wants to put on the They Live sunglasses. The history doesn't repeat it. Saturday's Justice for J6 rally. So it's not a Trump rally. It's a Justice for J6 rally. If you go on Twitter, the guy who's putting it on explicitly says, "No pro-Trump gear." What does the Hill say? They say it's a Trump rally because the Hill is fake news. It aims to protest the treatment of the hundreds of people arrested in connection with the J6 riot. Yeah, when Rage Against the Machine and the far left is working with the FBI to track down peaceful protesters, here's the thing: whether you're on the right or the left, if you have this dogma of you believe in right to assembly and redress of grievance and peaceful protest and all this stuff, peaceful assembly, then it applies to the right and the left as long as you're abiding by the peaceful aspect of it. To see the left, Rage Against the Machine, these rock bands from the 90s, try to track down these boomers who were at this protest and call into the FBI to track them down is insane. And like, the joke was that people call the left the fascists, and I was trying to correct them. I go, this is really Zio Global Homo, Bolsheviks, Marxists. This is 1914. This dates back to the Bolshevik Revolution. They weren't Russians that caused the Russian Revolution. No shit. These aren't technically fascists. But now I'm kind of reassessing that, because you see Antifa act as agents of the state, and you see these far left people on Twitter act in the state's interest. It's a weird sort of getting towards fascism, or at least authoritarianism. It's like, what happened to the left? What happened to the left? What happened to you guys? You had something, and it was a class struggle that got subverted by these filthy, parasitical Bolshevik vermin into race issues. It's like you let yourselves be subverted, I don't know, somewhere in the 80s. After 1965, they started flooding the country with the new voters, and then that you let in a group of people with a high in-group preference form their own tribes and not mix. So they advocate for their interests to the detriment of other groups that had previously been a tribe. And so that's how the Democratic Party slowly got subverted up until the 80s, when you've got specifically Latino advocacy groups advocating for their interests. and they grow and grow and grow. It's like, so the Democratic Party slowly turned around from like blue collar workers to, when you got Clinton, it's like, oh, we're going to ship your jobs over to Mexico. Wait a minute. Wait a minute there, sir. I thought we were the Democrats. We're the party of the blue collar. It's like, then in the 80s and 90s, the blue collar people who were supporting the Democrats looked at them and goes, yeah, this is just a tribal group. So you got La Raza forming this coalition. The DNC is pandering to this Latino vote, just basically replace the voters, and the Democratic base is suddenly left kind of like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on? And then at the same time, you had neocons. It's like, they say the wings of the same bird. It's like, yeah, it's just, there's no nationalism. There's no country without nationalism. There's just, globalism is just turning a country into a commercial zone where money rules. Like, you have no, what's our core dogma? What are we fighting for? And if someone says, okay, we want this Christian state, okay, that's something. Or the other is European paganism, tribalism, ethno-tribalism, ethno-nationalism, some kind of Odinism, whatever. That's something too. That's a core dogma. But when you have a commercial zone, the core dogma is we need to make money for the bankers. We need to be good little debt slaves and make money for the people who are already insanely wealthy. And the far left and the far right honestly have a lot in common. Like, the far left and the far right can both look at each other and go, yeah, maybe people shouldn't be worth $200 million. Maybe they shouldn't have private Lear jets. Maybe that's just a use of resources that is kind of a waste of resources. Maybe someone shouldn't. The wealth discrepancy seems to create an instability. If someone is worth, if somebody is living in a Section 8 housing and someone else is living in a $20 million mansion, I'm not saying there's never going to be wealth discrepancy, because there's going to be intellectual capability discrepancy. But maybe we should work on stabilizing the lower part of the economy. And if we have to tax the rich to do that. It's something the left and the right can agree on. But what the left is being so manipulated by the puppet masters that if you're in a group of people and your masters tell you not to speak to outsiders, then you're in a cult. And that doesn't happen in the right, that happens in the left. Or if you're in Antifa, more so Antifa than BLM, they tell you, don't talk to these people. Don't talk to these people. They'll brainwash you. Here's the thing. I'm one of those people who's discussing these issues. Do I sound capable of brainwashing anyone? These are the people you're talking to. Someone like me. Obviously, I can't brainwash anyone. I can just present opinions. You can rebut them, or you can hear them, and you can present your own opinions. That's what discourse is for, to communicate, to put ideas on the table, the open marketplace of ideas, to challenge evidence, to offer evidence, to look at it in the sunlight, the disinfecting sunlight. Oh, no, don't talk to these people. They're such skilled debaters. Their rhetoric is of such a high level that they'll talk you in circles. Really? So one side wants free speech, and the other side tells you not to talk to those people. You're in a cult. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all in the next episode.